The fork slipped from my hand and clattered against the plate. "Ah, what did you just say?" I asked, staring at Sophia across the table. She smirked, sipping her wine like nothing had happened. "I said you're jealous because I make more money." "Then you don't look so shocked. It's obvious." My chest tightened. "Jealous of you?" "Sophia, I've supported you every step of the way." "Support?" She laughed, short and sharp. "No, you sulk. You're quiet every time I talk about my job. You can't even hide it anymore." Lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling. Words echoed like poison. "You're jealous because I make more money." The sentence twisted, replaying again and again, cutting deeper each time. When she finally turned in bed, I whispered, "Sophia, did you mean it?" She groaned, pulling the blanket tighter. "Mean what? That I'm jealous of you? That I settle? Do you really believe that?" Shh. She chuckled softly, like I was a child asking something silly. "You're still on that? God, you're so sensitive." Bitter laughter pierced me worse than the words. "It's not a joke, Sophia. Answer me." She sat up, sighing dramatically. "You're blowing this out of proportion." "I said it because you were sulking. Don't take it so seriously. So it was meant to hurt. Or maybe it was meant to wake you up," she snapped. "You can't just float through life. Maybe I push too hard, but at least I push." I swallowed, forcing myself to breathe. "You don't see me anymore. You only see what I'm not." She shook her head, already reaching for her phone. "I'm done with this conversation." Her screen lit her face, cold and distant. I turned away, staring into the dark. The next day, I sat across from Daniel at the cafe, stirring coffee I didn't drink. He studied me with concern. "You looked wrecked, man. What happened?" I sighed. "Sophia. She said I'm jealous because she makes more money. Like my worth is tied to a paycheck." Daniel leaned forward. "And what did you say?" I tried to defend myself, but she laughed, like I was pathetic for even asking. His jaw tightened. "That's not right. You've always had her back. Remember when she was job hunting and doubting herself? You pushed her every day. Now she's throwing it in your face." I nodded, bitterness rising. "Exactly. I thought we were partners. Now I feel like competition." Daniel exhaled sharply. "Success changes people. Some get humble, some get arrogant." That sounds like she's leaning toward arrogant. I rubbed my temples. Keep asking myself, am I overreacting? Am I just insecure? He shook his head. There's a difference between insecurity and disrespect. If she can't celebrate without putting you down, that's not love. That's ego. His words hit hard. I want to believe she still loves me. Daniel's tone softened. Maybe she does. But love without respect, that's a ticking bomb. I stared at my untouched coffee. Last night I couldn't sleep. I kept remembering. Her laugh, it wasn't playful. It was dismissive. He frowned. You know what bothers me most? She didn't even try to understand. She just brushed you off. Yeah, I muttered, like my feelings don't matter. Daniel leaned closer. Pay attention, man. Look at the little things. How she talks, how she acts when she's with you. I'll tell you everything. Later that evening, I walked into our apartment. Sophia was on the couch, laughing in too. Her phone. She didn't notice me at first. Yes, of course I closed the deal, she said brightly. Should have seen their faces. Honestly, I carried the whole team. They'd be lost without me. Her voice was sharp, confident, glowing with pride. She hung up and finally looked at me. Oh, you're back. There's leftovers in the fridge. No hi. No how was your day? It's just a dismissive wave of her hand. I forced a smile. Big call, she grinned. It's just my boss praising me again. Honestly, I don't know how some people keep their jobs. They can't keep up with me. I swallowed hard, remembering Daniel's warning. You've been working late a lot. We hardly talk anymore, she laughed, tossing her hair. Someone has to keep the lights on, right? The jab stung. I work too, Sophia. She shrugged, already reaching for the TV remote. I know. But let's be real, you're comfortable. I'm chasing greatness. Her words echoed in the room, comfortable, small, settled. I sat beside her. She leaned away slightly, as if my presence was a distraction. I stared at the muted television, my chest tightening. Daniel was right. The cracks were showing, and no matter how hard I tried to patch them, I knew they were spreading. I leaned forward, trying to steady my voice. "Do you hear yourself? I'm proud of you, but you're turning my silence into something ugly." She raised her brows. So you're saying I imagined it? That I'm making it up?" I clenched my fists under the table. "I'm saying you've changed. Success got into your head, and now you look down on me." Her knife scraped against the plate. "Or maybe you can't handle a woman outshining you. Men hate that." Her words cut sharper than the blade in her hand. "I don't care about outshining. I care about respect." "Do you even respect me anymore?" She shrugged. "Respect is earned. You work hard, sure. But where has it gotten you? Same paycheck, same routine. Don't you ever want more?" The sting burned deeper. "You think my life is small? You think I'm small? If the shoe fits," she muttered, sipping again, my jaw locked. "Say it straight. Do you think you're better than me now?" Eyes gleamed, almost daring me. "Yes, in some ways, yes." I push myself harder. I fight for more. You settle." I slammed my palm on the table. Dishes rattled. "You think ambition makes you superior? That's what love means to you, competition." "Love doesn't pay bills," she shot back. "Love doesn't buy houses, or cars, or security." "Don't be naive." I swallowed hard. And here I thought love was about standing side by side, not measuring who earns more. She rolled her eyes. "God, you sound so dramatic. This is why I don't talk to you about work. You twist everything into an attack." I forced myself to breathe, because it feels like one. Every word tonight feels like a bullet. "You even realize how cruel you sound?" Her smirk faltered, just for a second, before returning. "Cruel or honest? Maybe you just can't handle the truth." Silence fell between us, heavy and suffocating. The rain outside tapped against the window like a slow drum. Finally, I whispered, "You used to see me as your partner." "When did I become your rival?" She hesitated, then shrugged again. "Maybe when I realized I wanted more than just comfort. Maybe when I realized I don't want to live small." I stared at her, every word sinking like poison. "Then tell me, Sophia, why are you still here? If I'm so small, why not leave?" Her lips parted, but no words came. For the first time that evening, she looked uncertain. I pushed my chair back, the legs scraping the floor. "Because deep down, I'm not small. I've given you everything I had." Her voice dropped. "And maybe that's the problem." I froze. "The problem?" "Yes." She met my eyes, firm now. "I don't want everything you have. I want more than what you can give." The final blow. My chest felt hollow, airless. "So I'll never be enough for you." She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Then the silence was louder than any word. I stood, my hands trembling. "Thank you for being honest, Sophia. You've shown me exactly where I stand." Her tone softened. "Don't twist this into hatred." "I still don't." I cut her off. My throat burned, but I forced the words out. "Don't say you still love me, because if this is love, it's not the kind I want." Her eyes widened, but I turned away before I could see if she cried. I walked to the window, staring into the rain. My reflection stared back, broken and hollow. "Never thought it would be you," I whispered. Behind me, the clink of her glass against the table was the only sound. She didn't follow. She didn't apologize. In that silence, I felt something shift inside me. The man who once looked at her with pride and devotion was gone. In his place was someone colder, someone sharper. I touched the glass, feeling the cold seep into my skin. "Oh, maybe I am jealous," I murmured to myself. "But not of your money. I'm jealous of the man I used to be, the one who believed you loved him." Her chair scraped as she stood, but I didn't turn. Her footsteps retreated, then a door clicked shut. Alone with the storm, I closed my eyes. The anger didn't scream it. Smoldered, quiet and heavy, promising it would not die easily that night. I understood one thing. Nothing between us would ever be the same again. It was past midnight when I heard her laugh. Not the sharp laugh she usually gave me, but something softer. I froze in the hallway, hearing her voice float from the living room. "Ethan." "Stop," she said, giggling in a way I hadn't heard in months. My chest tightened. I leaned closer, careful not to make a sound. She whispered, "You always know how to make me feel better." "No, really, you do." The words burned. My throat went dry. When I stepped into the room, she flinched, lowering her phone. "You scared?" "Me." I forced my voice steady. "Who were you talking to?" She rolled her eyes. "Relax. It was just Ethan from work." "Ethan?" I repeated, my fists clenching at my sides. Why did it sound different? She smirked, shaking her head. "Different? You're hearing things? You're paranoid?" "I know what I heard, Sophia." Her tone hardened. "You heard me laughing with a coworker, that's all. Don't twist it into something it's not." "Then why hide the call when—" "I walked in because I knew you'd do this, interrogate me like I'm guilty of something." She stood, folding her arms. "Honestly, it's pathetic. You're so insecure." The word cut deeper than a knife. Insecure or suspicious for a reason? She scoffed. "If you trusted me, this wouldn't even be a conversation." I swallowed my anger. "Trust isn't blind, Sophia. It's earned." Her eyes narrowed. "Maybe if you were more confident in yourself, you wouldn't see threats everywhere." I couldn't speak. My silence filled the room heavier than her accusations. She brushed past me, muttering, "Grow up." The door slammed to our bedroom, leaving me standing there, my chest burning. The next morning, I sat across from Daniel again, nursing a black coffee. He studied me carefully. "You looked worse than last time. What happened now?" I exhaled. "Her coworker, Ethan. She was on the phone with him last night, laughing, softer, like she used to laugh with me." Daniel frowned. "When you asked, she said, 'I'm insecure, that I'm paranoid.'" Daniel tapped his finger against the table. "That's a classic deflection. Flip it back on you, make you question yourself." I clenched my jaw. Maybe I am overreacting. Maybe it really was just work. "Come on," Daniel said firmly. "You've been with her long enough to know her tones." It sounded different. It was different. Don't gaslight yourself. I rubbed my face. "So what do I do? Confront her again?" He shook his head. "No, don't push. If you accuse her without proof, she'll just double down, make you the bad guy. Watch instead. Pay attention. Patterns don't lie." Sat back, the weight in my chest heavier. "But pretending everything's fine? It's killing me." Daniel's voice softened. "I know. But if she's hiding something, it'll show. And if she's not, you'll see that too. Either way, you'll know." I nodded slowly, though. My gut screamed otherwise. That evening, when I got home, Sophia was already on the couch typing away on her phone. "Long day?" I asked, setting down my bag. She barely looked up. "Meetings, reports, endless nonsense. You wouldn't understand." The jab stung. I forced a smile. Was Ethan in those meetings? Her eyes flicked up, sharp. "Don't start. I'm just asking." She groaned. "Yes, he was there. He's part of my team. Do you want me to quit my job because you can't handle it?" I never said that. I meant stop acting like I'm cheating every time I mention his name. I swallowed the anger rising in my throat. "I just want honesty, Sophia." She stood glaring at me. "I've been nothing but honest. You're the one inventing stories." Her phone buzzed. She grabbed it quickly, typing fast, smiling faintly before turning the screen away from me. I stared, my fists tightening. "Who's that?" She rolled her eyes. "Work. Always work." I nodded, but inside doubt gnawed like a parasite. Later. That night, she fell asleep quickly, her phone clutched in her hand. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling, my heart heavy with suspicion. Daniel's words echoed, "Pay attention. Patterns don't lie." And as much as I wanted to trust her, I knew trust was slipping through my fingers. Piece by piece, it was breaking. But I kept my mouth shut, wearing the mask of a man pretending everything was fine. The clock showed nearly midnight when the door opened. Sophia tossed her heels aside, sighing. "You're late again." I said, keeping my voice calm. She waved a hand. Work ran long. Big projects don't finish themselves. I frowned. You could have called. Her eyes flicked to me. Do I need to check in like a teenager? I'm busy, you know. I bit my tongue. But the silence between us grew heavy. The next evening she came in later, perfume lingering stronger than usual. I asked, "Where were you this time?" She dropped her bag on the counter. "Client dinner. Not that you'd understand." "Understand what?" Pressed. She smirked faintly. "High-level work. Ambition. Things outside your comfort zone." Her words stabbed, but I stayed quiet. Days passed the same way late. Nights, excuses, and little digs. One night, I finally snapped. "Do you even care how this feels?" I demanded. Sophia set down her wine glass. "Feels about what?" "I'm working hard to build something bigger." "About me," I shot back. "About us." She shrugged. "You're overreacting." "No," I said firmly. "I'm watching the person I love turn me into a joke." Her brow arched. "A joke?" "Yes. Every time you throw my job in my face, every time you talk down to me." She laughed lightly, shaking her head. "If you aimed higher, maybe I wouldn't have to." My chest burned. "So my work means nothing? My effort doesn't count because it doesn't pay like yours?" "Don't twist it," she replied coolly. "I'm saying you could do better, you settle. That's the problem." I clenched my fists. "No, Sophia. The problem is you've lost respect for me." Her face hardened. She leaned closer, voice like ice. "Respect is earned." The words hit me harder than I expected. My stomach dropped, heat rushing to my face. "Earned," I repeated slowly, "after everything I've given to us. After everything I've sacrificed." She tilted her head. "Sacrifice? You're doing the bare minimum and calling it noble." I stepped back, shaking my head. "You don't see me as your partner anymore. You see me as competition or worse. Dead weight." Her silence told me I was right. I forced out, "When did we stop being on the same team?" She sighed, walking past me toward the bedroom. "When you decided comfort was enough." I stood there, rooted, the echo of her words swirling in my head. Later that night, I tried again, my voice quieter. "Sophia, do you even want this relationship anymore?" She didn't look at me as she pulled a blanket over herself. "I want progress. If you can't keep up, don't blame me," I whispered, more to myself than her. "I don't even recognize this anymore." The room stayed silent except for her steady breathing. The next morning, Daniel called. "You sound rough. Did something happen again?" I hesitated, then said, "She told me respect is earned." He cursed softly. "That's cold." I felt like a stranger in my own home, I admitted. Daniel's voice softened. "Listen, man, when someone stops respecting you, everything else crumbles. You can love her all you want, but if she sees you as less, you're already fighting a losing battle." I closed my eyes. "So what do I do?" "Figure out what you're willing to accept," he said. "Because right now, she's showing you exactly who she is." His words lingered long after the call ended. I sat there, staring at the empty seat across from me, realizing Sophia's pride had turned into poison and I was the one drinking it every day. The music at the hotel rooftop pulsed like a heartbeat. Laughter and chatter filled the air, glasses clinking as people mingled under string lights. I stayed near the edge, pretending to enjoy myself until I saw them. Sophia and Ethan stood close too. Close. His hand brushed her arm, and she didn't move away. They leaned in, whispering, sharing smiles that didn't belong at a work party. My stomach twisted. I froze, my chest heavy, my throat tight. I wanted to storm over, scream, demand answers. But instead, I turned and walked out before either of them noticed me. Back home, the silence of the apartment mocked me for every second. Stretched like hours until I heard the door open. "You're home early," Sophia said casually, kicking off her heels. "Yeah," I muttered, staring at her. "So are you," she raised a brow. "The work party ended late, but I left before most." Laughed bitterly. "Yeah, I saw you," and Ethan looked busy. Her face stiffened for just a second before she forced a smile. You were there, I was, I said coldly, and I saw everything I needed to see. She crossed her arms. You're jumping to conclusions, am I snapped. 'Cause it didn't look like a business discussion when you were. Leaning into him, laughing like he was the only man alive, her voice sharpened. So what? I can't laugh with a coworker. Not like that, I shot back. Not like lovers. She rolled her eyes. You're paranoid. This is exactly the jealousy I've been talking about. Jealousy. My voice cracked with anger. That's what you call it? You standing there with him, touching, whispering, stop. She cut me off, tone icy. Do you hear yourself? You sound pathetic. You've been insecure for months. And now you're using Ethan as an excuse. I felt my chest burn. So you're not denying it? Her silence was louder than any answer. I stepped closer, my voice shaking. Tell me the truth, Sophia. Are you seeing him? She exhaled sharply, eyes flashing. You drove me to it. The words hit harder than any confession. I staggered back. I drove you to it. Yes, she said firmly. Your jealousy, your constant suspicion, your lack of ambition, it pushed me away. I needed someone who believes in more than just getting by. I stared at her disbelief, flooding me. So this is my fault. Betray me and somehow I'm the reason. She didn't flinch. You stopped being enough for me. My hands trembled. I gave you everything I had. It wasn't enough, she said coldly. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. Could have left. You could have told me. But instead, you humiliated me. Her voice softened, almost mocking. I didn't want to hurt you. Didn't want to hurt me, I echoed. You've been tearing me apart piece by piece, Sophia. Every insult, every late night, every lie, and now this. She sighed, looking away. I can't apologize. For wanting more? I swallowed hard, my voice breaking. More? Or just someone else? Her silence was the final answer. For a long moment, I couldn't speak. The room felt smaller, my chest tighter, like I couldn't breathe. Finally, I whispered, I was. Blind, I thought love was enough. I thought we were enough. Sophia didn't move, didn't speak. Just stood there, arms crossed, waiting for me to collapse under the weight of her indifference. But something inside me shifted. The love I'd been clinging to felt poisoned now, its sweetness gone. I straightened slowly. You've made your choice. She opened her mouth, but I raised a hand. No, don't explain. Don't twist it. You betrayed me, and I let you. I kept believing in us when you were already gone. Her eyes narrowed. So what now? What? Now? I repeated, almost laughing. Now I stop being blind. Now I stop letting you break me, she sneered. You think walking away makes you strong? I met her gaze, steady for the first time in months. No, but staying with you would keep me weak. The silence stretched, thick with finality. She didn't chase me. She didn't beg. She just turned away, as if I was already gone. I left the apartment, the door clicking shut behind me. The night air hit my face, cold and sharp, but it felt cleaner than the suffocating walls I'd left behind. For the first time, I saw her betrayal for what it was. Not sudden, not surprising. It was always coming. I was just too blinded by love. To see it, the days after leaving Sophia blurred into one long night. Food lost its taste. Sleep refused to come. I sat on the couch staring at nothing, her words replaying like a curse. You're just jealous. Daniel's voice broke through the fog when he showed up. Man, you look like hell. Thanks, I muttered, rubbing my eyes. That helps. He dropped into the chair across from me. When's the last time you ate? I shrugged. Doesn't matter. It does, he pressed. You're letting her win if you keep drowning like this. I snapped, sharper than I meant. She already won, Daniel. She crushed me. He leaned forward, eyes steady. No, she betrayed you. That's not the same thing. Don't confuse your worth with her choices. I clenched my fists. What if she's right? What if I am just jealous? Just Not enough. Before he could answer, the door opened. Clara stepped in, holding grocery bags. Good, she said, glaring at me. You're alive. Barely, I muttered. She dropped the bags on the counter and crossed her arms. So what's the plan? Rot here until you disappear? I don't have a plan. Her eyes softened, but her voice stayed firm. Then make one. Let her define you. I shook my head. She already did. Clara walked closer, kneeling in front of me. Listen to me. You're not what she said. You've always worked hard, always cared. Don't let one arrogant woman rewrite who you are. I swallowed hard. It feels like she stripped everything from me. Then take it back, she said. Daniel nodded. She's right. You've got talent, drive you just lost sight of. I looked between them, my chest tight. I don't even know where to start. Clara smiled faintly. Start small. Eat. Shower. Go back to work then. Build from there. Daniel added. And maybe pick up that coding project you told me about. Distract yourself with something that's yours. I exhaled slowly. Work. Projects. Survive. That's all I can do. That's enough for now, Clara said. For the first time in days, I felt a flicker of resolve. That night, I forced myself to eat the sandwich she made. The next morning, I showered, dressed, and showed up at work. When Daniel called, he asked, "How was today?" Hard, I admitted. But better than doing nothing. That's progress, he said. Keep going. At dinner later, Clara checked in again. Did you open that project folder yet? Not yet, I said, but I will. You should, she pressed. Because every time you hear her voice in your head, you need something louder to drown it out. Her words stuck with me. That night I opened my laptop. The code stared back at me like an old friend. My fingers hesitated, then started moving. Line by line, I felt a piece of myself returned. Still, her voice lingered. Respect is earned. You're just jealous. Sometimes I froze, staring at the screen until anger surged. I whispered to the empty room, "No, I'm not jealous." More than that. When I confessed this to Daniel, he said, "That's the fight, man. It's not against her anymore. It's against that voice in your head." Clara added, "And you're winning every time you choose yourself instead of her." I nodded slowly, piece by piece. I'll get there. For days I repeated that routine. Work, code, eat, sleep. The ache didn't vanish, but it dulled. And with each small step, I felt something new stirring self-respect. Fragile, but real. One night, staring at the glowing lines of code, I whispered, "You're wrong, Sophia. I'm not jealous. I'm rebuilding. And when I'm done, you won't recognize me." Months slid by like pages I never planned to write. Sophia and Ethan became official everyone knew. Whispers spread at her job about favoritism, about how quickly she climbed while leaning on him. I heard it through Daniel first. "She's not as untouchable as she thinks," he told me over coffee. I raised a brow. "What do you mean?" He leaned closer. "People talk. Promotions handed to her without the grind others put in. They're not impressed, they're watching." "Why?" Sipped slowly, hiding a small smile. "Karma has a way." Daniel grinned. "And so do you." "How's that project going?" I felt a spark of pride. "Good. Better than good. The app's gaining traction. I even pitched it to my boss. Wants to back me." Daniel slapped the table. "That's huge, man. Look at you, leveling up while she's digging her own grave." I chuckled softly. Feels strange. To finally be proud of myself, not just surviving. Later that night, Clara checked in. As always, how was work? I couldn't stop smiling. I got promoted. The side project hits, moving forward. Face lit up. "See? I told you. You're more than her shadow." I hesitated, voice low. For the first time, I actually believed that. She squeezed my shoulder. "Good. Hold on to it." Weeks turned into steady victories. Long hours coding. Planning, pushing it, paid off. My small business idea took shape. Contracts came in. For once, my reflection didn't look broken. It looked determined. One evening, as I shut my laptop, my phone buzzed. Her name flashed across the screen. Sophia. I froze. My chest tightened. But not from pain, just surprise. Daniel's voice echoed in my head. She doesn't get to control you anymore. The phone kept ringing. I stared at it, then whispered to myself, not this time. Let it go to voicemail. Later, Daniel called. She tried to reach you, didn't she? How do you know? I asked. Because that's how it always goes. When they feel the ground shifting, they reach for the hand they once pushed away. I sighed. I didn't answer. Good, he said firmly. That's growth. Clara found out too. She called you. Yeah, her eyes searched mine. And you didn't pick up? No, she smiled with quiet pride. That's the man I knew you'd become. I leaned back, exhaling. It feels freeing. Her voice doesn't own me anymore. Clara nodded. Because you own yourself. Now at work, my boss congratulated me again. You've come a long way, he said. Your idea has real potential. Keep at it. Thank you, I replied, meaning it. I won't waste the chance. Walking home that night, I thought about the path behind Meath, the jealousy, accusations, the betrayal, the nights of doubt. And now, this. A life rebuilt, not because she left, but because I chose to rise. When Daniel and I met for drinks, he raised his glass. To the tides shifting, I smirked, to finally breathing on my own. He clinked his glass against mine, and to proving that respect isn't handed by others, it's built. The words lingered as I walked home later, phone buzzing again. Sophia, persistent. But this time, he smiled. I whispered into the night, you don't get to define me anymore. And I let it ring until the screen went dark. Daniel leaned back, in his chair, smirking. Guess who got played? I raised an eyebrow. Who? He grinned wider. Sophia. That word is Ethan dumped her after getting promoted. Used her as a ladder, then kicked it away. I blinked slowly, letting it sink in. So the whispers were true. Every last one, he said. She's a mess at work. People aren't afraid to laugh now. I exhaled, calm, strange. I don't feel satisfaction, just distance. Clara called later that night. Did you hear? Yes, I said evenly. She looks awful. Friend saw her, said she's not herself anymore. No more pride, no more sparkle. I hesitated. I don't wish her pain, Clara, but I won't carry it for her either. Clara's voice softened. That's strength. Days later, fate put her in my path. I turned a corner downtown, coffee in hand, and there she was, Sophia. Her eyes widened. Oh, hey, it's been a while. I nodded politely. It has. She shifted awkwardly. You look good? Different. Thank you, I replied. Steady. She tried to smile. Work's been rough. You probably heard. I kept my expression neutral. I heard things, yes. Her voice cracked slightly. Ethan, he wasn't who I thought. I guess I made mistakes. Silence stretched. Between us, she searched my face, waiting. Finally, I said, we all make choices. We live with them. Her shoulders slumped. I didn't expect it to end like this. I nodded once. Life rarely ends how we expect. She bit her lip. No, I hurt you. I was cruel. I thought I had everything figured out, and now... She trailed off. I let her words hang. My chest felt no anger, no a Conley calm. I'm not the same man you left, I said quietly. She studied me, eyes pleading. I can see that. You've grown. Maybe I just remembered who I was supposed to be. Her gaze dropped to the pavement. I'm sorry, she whispered. I gave her the faintest smile. I hope you find peace, Sophia. Looked up quickly. That's it? That's all you have to say? That's all that needs saying? Her face crumpled, but I stayed still. Goodbye, I said firmly, stepping past her. She turned slightly, voice fragile. Goodbye. I walked away. I felt no urge to look back. That night, Daniel asked, so, how was it different? I replied. Did she beg? She tried. But I didn't feel anything. No fire, no hatred, just closure. He nodded slowly. Then you've won, my friend. Clara later pressed gently. Was it hard seeing? Her? Not at all, I admitted. The power shifted. She was the one searching for validation. I had none to give. Clara smiled softly. That's when you know you're free. And I realized she was right. The chains were gone, not because she broke them, but because I finally let them fall. Clara sat across from me at the cafe, her hands wrapped around a steaming mug. She tilted her head and smiled. You've changed, you know that? I raised an eyebrow. Changed how? Eyes softened. You carry yourself differently. You don't look weighed down anymore, you look free. I leaned back in my chair, letting her words sink in. Free, that's a word I never thought I'd feel again. You earned it, she said firmly, not by what happened to her, but by what you chose for yourself. I nodded slowly. I guess I had to lose everything to see what I really had inside me. She reached across the table, touching my hand. I'm proud of you. Her words hit deeper than I expected. Proud, repeated softly. Yes, she said without hesitation. You could have drowned in bitterness. Instead, you built yourself back up. That's strength. Later that night, Daniel called. His voice was loud and teasing. So rumor is Sophia's crawling through life now. You hear that? I ran into her, I said. He whistled. No kidding. What was that like? Empty, I answered. It's like watching a stranger wear the face of someone I used to know. Daniel chuckled darkly. Bet she wishes she still had you. Maybe, I said, but it doesn't matter anymore. He laughed harder. Man, that's what I've been waiting to hear. Lost the best thing she ever had, and you finally see it. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I let his words echo. I don't need her to see it. I just needed me to. Silence followed, then his voice softened. That's it. That's growth. That night, I sat at my desk, a journal open before me. The pen hovered over. The page, I began to write slowly, carefully, as if each word carried weight. I am not jealous. I paused. Staring at the sentence, I am not broken. Another pause, longer this time. I am free. My chest loosened as the words filled the page. For months, I had carried her voice inside me like poison. You're just jealous. I was replacing it with my own voice, stronger, clearer. The door creaked open and Clara peeked in. Still awake? I smiled faintly. Couldn't sleep. Had to write. She stepped closer. What did you write? I turned the journal toward her. She read silently, then looked up. That's the truth, isn't it? It is, I said. For the first time, it feels real. She placed a hand on my shoulder. Hold on to that. Don't let anyone take it away again. The next weekend, Daniel insisted on meeting for drinks. He raised his glass the moment I sat down. To freedom, he declared. I smirked. Freedom, huh? Damn right, he said. Freedom from her, freedom from the lies, freedom from thinking you weren't enough. Cheers to the man you've become. I clinked my glass against his. To the man I've become. He grinned. And who is that man exactly? I thought. For a moment, a man who doesn't beg for respect, or a man who knows his worth, or a man who doesn't chase people who don't value him. Daniel slapped the table. There it is. That's the guy I knew was buried under all that pain. I laughed, shaking my head. I don't know if I'm finished yet. You don't have to be, he said. None of us are finished. But you're on the right path. That's what counts. When I got home, I stood in front of the mirror. The reflection staring back wasn't the same man who once clung to Sophia's approval. His shoulders were straighter, his eyes steadier. I whispered to the glass, I'm not who I was. The words didn't feel like a hope or a wish. They felt like truth. The following week, I visited the park where Sophia and I used to walk together. The benches were the same, the trees unchanged, but everything felt different. I sat down and breathed in the quiet. A young couple passed by laughing, holding hands. I didn't feel envy or regret. I just felt peace. Clara's words came back to me. You look free, Daniel's voice followed. She lost the best thing she ever had. And then my own words, etched in ink. I am free. I closed my eyes and let the wind brush against my face. This story wasn't about Sophia anymore. It wasn't about Ethan. It wasn't about betrayal or revenge. It was about me, the man I became after the storm. And as I stood and walked away, I carried nothing but lightness inside me. The cemetery was quiet except for the crunch of gravel beneath my shoes. I stopped at the familiar headstone, the one with my father's name etched into it. My throat tightened as I whispered, "Hey, Dad." I crouched down, brushing away some leaves. "It's been a while, hasn't it?" The silence answered me, but I kept talking. "You always told me, never let anyone make you feel small." Thought I understood back then. Turns out I didn't. The wind blew gently, carrying my words. I let her shrink me. I let her voice drown out my own. Every day I heard her tell me I wasn't enough, and I believed it, but not anymore. I swallowed hard. "I finally get it, Dad. I finally understand what you meant." Behind me, Claire's voice called softly, "Do you want me to give you a minute?" I shook my head. "Stay. I want you here." She walked up beside me, her hands folded. "You've been carrying this for so long." "I have," I admitted. "But I'm ready to set it down." She nodded, glancing at the grave. "What would he say to you right now if he could?" I smiled faintly. "He'd probably smack the back of my head and say, 'Took you long enough.'" Clara laughed softly. "Yeah, that sounds like him." I looked back at the headstone, kept waiting for someone to tell me I was enough. Waiting for respect, for approval, for validation. But that's not how this works. Clara touched my arm gently. "No, it has to come from you." "Exactly." I said. I don't need her voice anymore. I don't need anyone to decide my worth. The air was still heavy with memory. I whispered, "I'm done begging for scraps. I'm done shrinking myself." Clara's eyes glistened. "Then say it. Say it out loud, here." I turned back to the grave. My voice trembled, but grew stronger with every word. "I am enough. I don't settle for disrespect. Won't let anyone make me feel small again." Clara squeezed my shoulder. "That's it. That's your promise." A tear rolled down my cheek, and I didn't wipe it away. "You hear that, Dad? I get it now. You don't have to worry about me anymore." We stood in silence for a moment. The quiet wasn't heavy. It was freeing. Finally, I said, "I used to think strength meant holding on. But maybe strength is knowing when to let go." Clara whispered, "You've let go?" I nodded, "Yeah. And it feels light." Daniel's voice echoed in my head from the other night. She lost the best thing she ever had. For once, I believed it. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I knew my own worth. Clara broke the silence. "Do you think you've forgiven?" "Her," I thought carefully. "No, and I don't need to. Forgiveness isn't the point. Moving on is." Clara tilted her head. "That's even better." Resting my palm on the cool stone. "Goodbye, Dad. I'll carry your words with me, always. But I don't need to hear them anymore to believe them. I'm a father to myself now." When I stood, Clara asked quietly, "A father to yourself?" I nodded. "Yeah, I've been waiting for someone to protect me, guide me, remind me who I am. But I can do that now. I can be that voice." She smiled. "It's powerful." As we walked toward the gate, she asked, "So who are you now?" I breathed deeply before answering. "I'm not the man who begged for her love. Not the man who lost himself to her pride. I'm not the man accused of jealousy. Then who?" She pressed. I smiled, feeling the truth settle in my chest. "I'm the man who knows his worth, the man who stands tall, even alone. The man who finally respects himself." Clara slipped her arm through mine. "That's the man Dad wanted you to be." I whispered, "And it's the man I finally became." At the gate, I turned for one last look at the grave. Instead of pain, I felt peace. Clara asked, "Feel lighter?" I nodded. "Lighter than I've ever felt." We walked back to the car in silence. For once, I didn't need to fill it with words. My silence wasn't emptiness anymore. It was strength. Later that night, I opened my journal again. My hand didn't hesitate as I wrote. "The man who is accused of jealousy is gone. In his place stands a man who knows his worth." I closed the book, a smile tugging at my lips. For the first time in a long time, I slept without dreams of her voice haunting me. And when I woke the next morning, I knew the truth. I had kept my promise, not just to my father, but to myself.